up? It's your girl Bewitched Faun, coming in with episode 29 of Faun's Horror Corner, a series where I watch a random horror movie on Tubi and we talk about it. This week I watched The Cave from 2005. The description Tubi gave us was, trapped inside an underwater network of caverns under the Carpathian Mountains, a diving exploration team becomes bait for bloodthirsty monsters. As usual, seemingly, full disclosure, I have seen this before. Only once before though, and I couldn't even tell you how long ago that was. I didn't even realize I'd seen it before until I saw a familiar actor in it, so my expectations were a little on the higher side, because even cheesy creature features can still be fun. So after all this time, I was still a little hopeful for a good movie. Also, two things. One, I have my window open, it's nice out. Sue me, you're gonna hear some birds, oh no. And also, I'm filming this in the morning, I've barely had my coffee, so if I sound like I'm tired, I am. But with that out of the way, let's get into the movie. We begin with the Cold War in Romania, followed up with the title card. Unsurprisingly, this group is doing some fuck shit. They park and start doing some climbing, and we find this actually pretty sick looking church. And if you know anything about me, you know that I have a proverbial hard-on for cool church architecture. It's pretty fucking spooky inside, which is a big no thanks on my part, and they find a basement, which is a double no thanks on my part. It's certainly not a welcoming basement, and they aren't sure where the cave is. Except they do now. They're standing on it. So anyways, they started blasting, and now the whole floor is crumbling and these buffoons crash land. Unfortunately for them, that blast seems to be causing rockfall and they're trapped down there. And there's some strange sounds near them too. But fuck that group, right? Now we're back to the present, and they're unearthing that cave and they take a look around. Unfortunately, that's as far as they can go because now they need cave divers. So let's meet them. It's a big group of people and they're chatting with Nikolai, who got the funding for a whole documentary about this cave he found, and he wants this group to be on the job. Obviously they agree or this movie wouldn't go very far. So here we are at the location. They're unpacking gear when Tyler spots a woman and is intrigued. She's doing cool science shit when he walks up and introduces himself. She's chill and entertains him, and she is Dr. Catherine Jennings. Nikolai introduces us to Jack, who's a nerd for cave science, and takes Catherine away for now. Anyways, here's the remains of a guy who died in the mouth of a cave. Cool, right? Want to hear some fuck shit from my life? Shout out to Josh, Angie, and their roommate for this story, because one of the guys got a picture of a bunch of severed feet somehow and asked if I wanted to see it, and for some reason I didn't think it was actually going to be exactly what they said, so I agreed, but no, it was actually just a bunch of severed feet, and it lives in my head rent-free, unfortunately. And it's not as serial killer as it sounds either. There was some reasoning for it, I just don't remember. Anyways, back to the movie, because that was one of the strangest sidetrack stories so far. It's the PM and the girls have a chat, and we learn that this diving group is like a family, but no more fun. It's business time. They go over the mapping and all-around plan, and make a toast to virgin caves and virgin everything. Yikes, buddy. Nikolai tells us that they built the church to seal the cave as a display of God's protective power, which apparently is holding back some winged demons. It's the next day and they waste no time in entering the cave. Down they all go, and it's pretty fucking cool down there. This is the Titan Hall. This guy Briggs is diving down and scoping out what's up ahead, mapping out his route in the process. These two briefly bond, but there seems to be a signal problem with Briggs. But after some concern, he makes himself known and is sitting at their next base camp, which he's naming Kublai Khan. It's a 2.4-mile swim and he sends the map. He shows the site, but something runs past him, and now a large rat, or mole, perhaps a mole rat, but with webbed feet, is either attacking or trying to smash him. Hard to say. But something is still bothering Briggs and the camera is acting weird, and the signal is gone. They debate how to handle it, and it looks like everyone is on their way over with some more cool diving shots. Nikolai and Catherine have a detour to take a look at some huge remains, and Jack and Top surface at the base camp. And Briggs emerges from a cavern he ventured into and shows us that they were not the first people here after all. Strode hears some weird shit while him and Tyler fix some cables. He thinks it's the weird moles and is investigating. Tyler found the break-in cable and will work on that. And Strode is investigating, but he can no longer reach Tyler. He finds a cave and is welcomed by a freshly killed mole rat, as well as Sneaky Scratch from above. Something is lurking and Tyler can't be reached, but Tyler notes that the cable has been chewed apart. Monster jump scare. Strode is being attacked and is fighting underwater. Tyler hears him calling for help, but has no way of knowing where he he is. He tries to escape on his vehicle, but he gets pulled away as it turns on, and they move in polar opposite directions. It hits a wall and explodes, causing massive rockfall. Tyler joins the group, seemingly okay, but unfortunately Strode is MIA. Pop and Jack go down to find Strode. They find a cave-in and start digging, and Jack gets scratched by something. They found his counter lung, whatever that is, which is a big no-no to lose, and rocks start falling again, making them have to retreat. Everyone's looking a bit down, understandably, so Jack has some real talk. They have to find a new way out. Their entrance is blocked. On top of that, they have a whole 12 days until people start looking for them, and then their supplies run out, so they need to find their own escape. The group expresses concern about something that could have attacked Strode. All things considered, they would have a solid food supply of mole rats to live off of. The group debates how to handle the situation. Jack is the boss though, so he makes the plan for the group to save themselves. Himself and Top will immediately scout for an exit while the others get some much needed rest. The diving duo find a source of white algae which supports the base of the food chain. Top is more concerned about what's higher up and what happened to the person who dropped this thing. Catherine is doing her science thing and shows Nikolai it. It's a parasite found within a mole, and a salamander they found has the same parasite as well. The diving duo are crawling in a small cave and Jack shimmies through a very tight path and comes face to face with a swarm of scorpions, and surprisingly politely asks Top to back out of the shaft. I say surprisingly because I certainly wouldn't stay fucking calm, that's for sure. He lights a flare, but we get a jump scare and he's getting dragged away by something. Top reappears at the base camp asking for a medical kit. He carried Jack all the way back, who had this whole fucking claw stuck in him, and that creature is big and did some gnarly damage. Catherine does her cool science thing and says she doesn't know what the hell it is, but for sure that beast is a predator. And she has a big science drop, so let me explain. This creature probably originated on the surface and evolved over time to survive down here. It's probably blind, with good hearing and smell. It's most likely an undiscovered, in quote of Nikolai, I don't know. I know I'm saying it wrong, but primeval creature that has evolved in total isolation. The two notice moving tendrils from the wound, which indicate the parasite they found is very present. Jack tells the group it's time to go, so they take the essentials and get moving, but they're being watched from above. Nikolai finds teeth marks on human remains, which is pretty cool. Flash forward and there's a fork in the path, so they wait while Jack is ahead scouting. He reemerges, but his vibe is kinda off, and tensions are pretty high. Briggs starts scanning their path ahead and criticizes Jack's choice of path. He scans again, but now there's something new in the scan that wasn't there a second ago. And understandably, Briggs wants none of that right now. They're all doing some climbing, and Top notes that Jack's wounds look pretty infected, but Jack is rather nonchalant about it. But he smells water in the distance, so he's chilling. The cameraman is trying to do his job, but Jack really doesn't fuck with that, so the camera takes a swim, and Alex gets pushed to the ground. Jack notices there's a current in the water and decides to let everyone rest a bit finally. He sits alone and isn't having a very good time right now. Jack listens in on everyone's conversations around him, and they all express concern. Tyler checks in on Jack and mentions that Briggs is going to be a problem, and he can't save them if they don't trust him, so he needs Tyler's help to convince the group that he knows what he's doing. So back to the water they go, but not without a little company. They reach a new area. Others express concern about the current, but Jack stands firm on his route. So everyone lets the current carry them through the shaft, and this doesn't feel very safe to anyone else. Something swims up on Catherine. The current pulls him away while she's held in place. Tyler speeds down the shaft, and we see an injured Nikolai stranded to the side of the current, as well as this massive fucking drop which looks like a nightmare, and Catherine soon catches up to him. Charlie abruptly emerges and says something is in the water. So Tyler dives down, and yes there is, and it's a scary eel. Jack radios asking about Charlie and Nikolai, and Tyler gives him the rundown of what he knows. They meet up, and shortly after, Nikolai drops down from his ledge and Jack is on his way over. But something is approaching and now attacking him in the water, and no one is allowed to go get him. Nikolai is being seen dragged down into the depths by this creature, and that's a huge no fucking thanks. Huddled together, sounds are heard, and Top pulls out a fucking sword, which was unexpected but very cool. But something is swarming them in the water. Nikolai is found again, but this doesn't look good for him, as he's pulled through this crack by the creature. Jack returns to the group and says that it's over, and now they have to move forward. They find themselves at another fork, and Jack scuds ahead once more. The group finds a strong current that they believe will lead them to the surface. Jack comes back and says that him and Tyler are climbing up that wall, which is confusing because the group found the main water flow. But Jack remains unfazed and says they're climbing. Briggs debates it, because obviously they just found their ticket out of here, with the water. But Jack says none of you have a goddamn clue what's going on here, and that water is a trap. So they're stuck climbing a goddamn wall. Top tells the crew how to make some tanks they're carrying go boom if a creature comes near, which is cool. Catherine tells Tyler that Jack isn't fit to lead anymore as he's ill, and he hears all of this, but focus shifts as Charlie is already climbing, which Jack told her not to do. But she's hauling some real ass though up that wall, so major respect. No longer in range for her group to see, she keeps climbing. She reaches reaches the cave that Jack was eyeing and tells everyone she made it and can feel the draft. So Jack starts climbing too. But she notices something strange up ahead and crawls towards it. And boy, is that thing fucking ugly. She screams and starts to back up and falls out of the shaft and takes a pretty nasty tumble, and now she's just hanging there. That ugly fucker ain't done with her yet, and it's moving towards her. So everyone rushes to help her, but Jack is having a really bad time right now too. Charlie does some Tomb Raider maneuvering, which is cool as fuck, and she does this sick ass move to burn the monster. She cuts herself free and sticks her landing on rocks ahead, but the creature swoops down towards her and traps her in place. They have a rough fight, but ultimately she burns the creature and it appears to be dead. Charlie gets retrieved, and unfortunately she didn't make it. Jack is as cold as ever and doesn't look so hot. Catherine steps in and says she knows what's going on. It's a parasite that mutates the host so they can both survive down here. She believes it enters through the bloodstream and is affecting his nervous system. But here's the catch. It's not for food. It's so the host can become these creatures. And Jack is starting to transform. Understandably, the group starts debating how to handle this. Jack stands firm that he knows the way out, but not everyone trusts him at this point. So the group splits up. Top, Jack, and Tyler are sticking to climbing, and they make it up to the cave and keep moving. Briggs, Catherine, and Alex are following the water out. Back to the boys. They made it up, and now Jack wants them to go back down elsewhere, and he's very certain of this path. Top starts moving down, but there are creature sounds and rockfall heard nearby. He waits in place for Tyler, who moves downward too but fumbles, and all hell breaks loose. The rebreather breaks off and falls on Top, which knocks him down pretty damn far. Now he's got an injury. The rebreather knocked open a cave that is full of methane, so they venture forth in this chamber. It looks like a killing ground, similar to the mosaic we saw earlier. Jack calls over the squad and shows them the way out. Jack isn't having a good time again, but when he comes to, he says, "You two go ahead. I need to grab the others." Tyler talks him down and says, "Nah, let me do it." Back to the other group. There is no chill because immediately a creature is near and Briggs lights a flare and tells the others to run. A monster swoops down at Briggs, and that's all, folks, because Tyler is being tailed and does a sick jump and starts diving. Jack and Top have their own problems too. They've got monsters and they're being toyed with. They made it to where we last saw the other group, but they aren't around anymore and there's some blood tossed around. Briggs starts screaming and Tyler finds him, but it's not a great position to be in, and he tries to help Briggs out of it, but to no avail because he got yoinked away. Tyler discovers some bloody gear. Briggs speaks and he is impaled above Tyler and gestures to where Catherine went, drops something firm and says sorry and to leave. A creature appears and pursues Tyler, but oops, there's one ahead too, and he's pretty sandwiched in, but the pulses of the mapping tool ward the creatures off, and Catherine and Tyler are reunited once more. She learns that the sound waves from the tool scare them off. She tells Tyler that Jack was right in his route out. The two get a move on now and they have to swim through this claustrophobic tunnel. They decide to ditch a tank, and through some intense ass music, they swim through to a new chamber. Catherine isn't doing so good, so Tyler helps a bitch out and she's back. But so are the monsters. There's something nearing, but it's just Alex. But there are monsters following him as well, so they need to keep moving. Everyone has made it to the methane chamber and they squat up. Jack tells them to stay quiet and turn their lights off. And they break the news about Briggs. Jack believes the steam is confusing the monsters, but they believe they could be waiting for something as well, so he wants to get moving ASAP. They work on splitting up the oxygen in their tanks so everyone has a chance to make the dive, but they need that missing rebreather the monster took. Jack sees it and is going to grab it while Tyler gets everyone else in the water. The rest make their game plan and get moving, but Top slips and it was just enough noise to garner their attention. Alex keeps them back with the soundwave gun and they're all hauling ass, but Alex gets impaled and a monster takes the snack. Top and Catherine hide underwater from the monster, who knows better, and starts swinging. Jack is doing some sick parkour moves to get that rebreather, and Tyler kills that monster like a badass. And look at Jack go. He kills that monster and grabs the rebreather. He yeets that bitch to Tyler and promptly lights a flare, tosses it in his tank, and blows the whole damn joint up, and takes on this monster like an absolute badass. Like one actually insanely cool scene. The trio make their escape underwater. Swimming up towards the light, they breathe in fresh air again. Flash forward, and Top is presumably going the fuck home. Good for him. Tyler and Catherine have a chat, and Tyler asks about the parasite, since it was changing him. He couldn't survive out here, surely. But Catherine explains that she thought it could only survive in a cave environment, but now she isn't so sure. She gives Tyler a smooch, but we see she's infected, as she says that it wants to get out. She gets moving and Tyler chases after her, but to no avail. She is long gone, and so is the parasite. And that's it. That's the movie. Let's get into my afterthoughts. This movie was such a pleasant surprise. I had so much fun watching this, and I think that cave horror is just something that I will consistently fuck with. Let's get into my talking points. I already know this is going to be a longer video. What did you think of the story? Well, initially when I hear about a cave creature feature, I assume it's going to be a The Descent clone, since it had such a success. And while these two movies did come out in the same year, whether one was inspired by the other or if it's just a coincidence, I couldn't say. But what I can say is that I liked that the story wasn't something that I would have expected. But I did expect a Descent clone. But what I watched was another cave horror that had its own entirely unique storyline. I mean, yeah, it has a similar idea, I guess, with the not so undiscovered cave, strange blind creatures. Look, I see the similarities, but I appreciate that they took a different path with it and made it into a virus. What about the ending? I thought it was a fun way to end it. It was nice seeing the three who survived, but it's also cool when a movie leaves you with like a gut punch ending like that. As well as, I really hated Jack throughout this, and his evolution through the movie was very interesting, albeit a little goofy with the contact lenses, but it was still cool, and the way he helped his crew escape at the end was kinda legendary. Overall thoughts? This was just fucking cool, and cooler than I expected it to be. I couldn't really remember anything about it from whenever the hell I originally watched it. I only realized I watched it before when I saw Catherine because I knew her actress. So this was fairly fresh for me still, and I was really interested. I feel like all of the characters were surprisingly well fleshed out. Even Jack, who I despised for the vast majority of the movie, I was prepared to make him worst character, but his whole thing with the ending was just kind of fucking legendary. And I loved this character by the end too. One minor complaint I will make is that there were times where the musical score was louder than the actual talking, and there is no volume changing on my part that I could do to fix that, so I relied on the subtitles pretty heavily in those bits, but it wasn't often and it didn't kill the movie for me. Favorite kill? There were so many interesting and cool deaths in this, but hands down, Jack takes the cake. What a cool way to go. Best and worst character? In a shocking turn of events, Jack is my favorite. He fought through his transformation and knew his way out and really did try his damnedest to get everyone out and on the right path, and he sacrificed himself to get the final three out. As for the worst, I don't even fucking know who to put here because no one on the crew was bad. So I'm gonna say fuck it and pick no one because everyone in the main cast was done really well, and I don't dislike any of them. And the notable face that I mentioned earlier was none other than Catherine, who was played by Lena Headey, who myself and most other people recognize as Cersei from Game of Thrones, and a lesser known role that I know her from is Cindy in Laid to Rest, a lesser known slasher film that I highly recommend. But oddly enough, in my search for her character's name in that movie, I discovered that I know her from something else that surprised me. As a big fan of the Dishonored series, I saw that she was the voice of Callista Curnow, which was really cool to learn. And as for the tier list, I'm tossing this guy in A tier. While it's not quite on par with the first Descent movie, it's still a really good and cool watch, and I think it deserves its place in A tier. And as for the Character Hall of Fame, I bounced around the idea of adding Jack for a good bit, and ultimately settled on it because I really did think he was just that cool and good of a character. Well, that's all I got. Thank you for watching. If you're still here, I upload these every Saturday around 12 p.m. Eastern, as long as life doesn't get in the way. So if you enjoy, then feel free to like, comment, or subscribe. Do what you want. I can't tell you what to do. My socials are down below, as well as the link to the movie so you can watch it yourself and form your own thoughts and opinions. Let me know what you think if you decide to watch it. Next week, we will watch a new random horror movie and see where that takes us. Thank you one more time for watching. Stay safe and spooky, y'all.